Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to all of you. Today we're going to have our forum entitled ASEAN AI Market Opportunities. So, Dr. Azlina, start.
Yes, please. Over to you, Dr. Athif. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Azlina. My name is Ahmad Athif, Faudzi, the representative from UTM. I'm the director for Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, and part of the team in the organizing committee for this program, Lifting AI Innovations in ASEAN. So this program will be bringing live to you today with all the audience coming from different countries. So I would like to welcome everybody to this session. And in this session, we have our 4 distinguished speakers, Mr. Rafe Azsnal, the Vice President of Skymind, Mr. Chanakarn, Chhinchatchawal, the founder and CEO of Zwiz.AI, Associate Professor Dr. Nguyen Chan Hùng, the founder and CEO of VDSmart, and Mr. Alvin Tanthio, a business development advisor and consultant, and also a HR professional from Indonesia. So, so we have roughly 2-hour session, and I would like to thank our organizer, the Center for Artificial Intelligence, together with the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI, and a big support from Royal Academy of Engineering under Leaders in Innovation Fellowships, or we call this as a program under LIFT Community Grant 2021, and British High Commission Kuala Lumpur and UK Science and Innovation Network. So this forum will be brought live to you also in FB Live, Lifting AI. Okay, you can go to Lifting AI. So we have 2 medium here for the participants in Zoom and also live in FB at the current time. So a little bit about our speakers. So I would like to introduce the first speaker, Mr. How should I pronounce? Rafe Azsnal. Okay, Mr. Rafe Azsnal from Malaysia. Rafke? Rafi, okay, sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, no. Mr. Rafi. Okay, Mr. Rafi is an engineer by education and an experienced professional in technology and digital ecosystem. Currently, Mr. Rafi is the Vice President of Growth from Skymind, and he have a lot of experience previously from MTech, where he have some experience starting from June 2017 to October 2019, and he is also the Regional Manager Business Development officer under MDEC as well. He's also the product manager in Time.com Berhad, product engineer in Lotus West, and also in few other companies. So maybe Mr. Rafiq shall highlight some of the backgrounds and also experience. So currently, he is very passionate in AI, and his specialty is in business management, consultancy, telecommunication industry, talent VCs, accelerators, and connecting all the dots around us. Okay, so our second speaker is Mr. Chanakarn, Chhinchatchawal. Okay, sawadee-krap to everybody. So Mr. Mr. Chanakarn is the CEO of Zwiz.AI. And he is also a line certified coach, okay, and a former senior consultant at IBM Thailand. So Zwiz.AI is a startup company focusing on chatbot and AI. So we'd like to know more about what Mr. Chanakarn is currently working. And a little bit about Zwiz.AI. It is the first chatbot content, okay, management system which can transform something related to your Facebook page. So this will be very interesting to everyone to hear. So he have a good background as a senior consultant in IBM and won many awards. Have a very good experience in doing game programming. And Mr. Chanakarn is from Mohd University and also from Imperial College London. Okay, so our third speaker is Professor, hold on, yeah. Professor Hung, Professor Associate Professor Dr. Nguyen Chan Hung from Hanoi, Vietnam. His background is in electronics and telecommunication from Hanoi University, and also he had a degree in telematics from University of Valladolid from Spain. So previously he's working as a lecturer in School of Electronics and Telecommunication, SCP. Currently, and also he's previously a Vice Director of Vietnam Research Institute, Informatics, Electronics and Automation, VIELINA. And he's also the Director of the CMC Institute of Science and Technology, CIST, in the year of 2018. So he have a vast experience in R&D projects with many companies, and currently he is the CEO. He was previously a CTO of VD Spaces, and currently he is the CEO of VDSmart. Okay, so we would like to also know the experience from academia and also in industry from Dr. Chan Hung later. So VDSmart is a such IoT solutions. So I'd like to welcome everyone to this stage together with me. So, okay, so for the format of our forum, so we are going to, we have roughly around nearly 2 hours until 1:15 Malaysia time. So we are going to have a few rounds, okay, few rounds of discussion and also information sharing from our speakers, distinguished speaker today. So we're going to have 3 rounds, hopefully, within the time. And within each round, I will be asking our experts on their feedbacks and also on their idea and also experience, especially from the country. And about the topic that we are talking, especially in AI, even I think everywhere, AI are now being not only in research, but applied, as we can see also from the companies of startups growing here in Malaysia as well as in many other countries. And in Malaysia, we have this new roadmap or blueprint on STIE, Science, Technology, Innovation roadmaps, where we are also putting advanced intelligence system as one of the key technologies to drive the nation. So we can also see many other countries are working with roadmaps on seeing how it can be implemented in bringing the nation towards growth in the areas that we are strong in. So to start with the first round, we're going to have 3 rounds. Okay, to start with the first round, I would like to start with a brief introduction, maybe by all our forum panelists. Maybe you can introduce a bit about yourself, if there is some of other information that you would like to highlight, and also related to organization that you do and related to AI. And briefly about how is the AI in your country. So maybe Mr. Rafe, you can start in your opinion about AI in Malaysia. What is the market potential, the business opportunity, or who are the players in AI? So maybe I can start first, Mr. Rafe, for you.
Sure. Thank you very much, Doctor. And very good morning.
Thank you very much.
First and foremost, I think I see a lot of familiar names and faces also as well there. Well, thank you very much, I think, for the organizer for actually inviting me and inviting Skymind to be part of this. There's a lot of things to share actually, but you know, I think that the rest of the panelists also You know, if you put 3 hours together with the 4 mine, I don't think 3 hours would be sufficient for anything. But let's just try. So if we are talking specifically about Malaysia, interestingly about Malaysia is that we are multiple culture, multiple language, right? And adopting of AI is never easy, especially even in Malaysia, there's multiple dialect, right? And the way people are doing things are also quite differently. But if we are talking about business size, you know, Malaysia is looking at about what, half a billion ringgit in 2021 alone. And because of this pandemic that we're actually having right now, it expedite the whole development and adoption of AI nor any other technology services. You know, this one of the things that I always spoke about with the industry is that the new CIO in the market, you know, as bad as it sounds, is actually the COVID itself. You know, it forces people to adopt technology that they never thought of. You know, allocating budget, especially on adopting new way of doing work. You know, and this area that we are talking about that actually heavily adopting technology is basically from this brick and mortar company that you know normally would be the last one in the market that would adopt technology. You're talking about, you know, companies that are actually doing mining, quarrying, you know, constructions, or to the extent of agriculture. You know, these are the people as of now that is actually quite in the fast moving, you know, adopting technology. And if you put aside FSI, you know, financial services or manufacturing, you know, we don't even need to tell that, you know, or to express to the market, these are the highly adopted industry. But you know, when you are putting this brick and mortar company that you don't think would adopt technology alongside with this kind of this vertical or these businesses that are actually adopting are basically at par as of now. You know, you're talking about, you know, one of the oldest business, construction, you know, with hundred of years of normal way of doing work right now are adopting AI as part and parcel of making decision-making processes or straight-through processing or automations, you know. So that's pretty interesting, especially here in Malaysia, you know. Again, this business owner, you know, I think part and parcel of what in their mind is basically to ensure efficiency. You know, it's always there, even through the current situation or the pandemic that we're actually having right now. And having, you know, normally I would have 20 people around me advising me what to do. Now I can't have that 20 people around me. So the best next thing is basically, I would say, a digital assistant who actually mine the organization data and give me, you know, the power or the knowledge in order for me to make that decision, whether to move forward or to do or to pivot or to do anything, you know. So in regards of Skymind, you know, we are fairly new in Malaysia. I think we are a year and a half old, 1 year, 7 months, I think, you know, coming to our 2 years, but we are already in the market for the last 7, 8 years. So the interestingly, when Skymind set up back in 2019, November, you know, we only have a few months of normal time, you know, then this whole pandemic came to Malaysia. Is you know, is sad that, you know, I couldn't even enjoy my new office, you know, but then, you know, it forces us to do something a bit different, you know, which a lot of us, especially in Skymind as an organization, actually take, you know, we've taken a back step, you know, we relook at things and we see how best can we do this, you know. We've been communicating with our community around the world. We have more than 10 million of them that actually developing our back end, our library and whatever not. So we adopt whatever that we have done in our community into our corporate organization, you know, giving them the similar access, giving them the similar way of them doing work. And we thought Malaysia or Malaysia cannot actually, go into that new direction. But surprisingly, again, when you talk about AI, a lot of these people are actually, generation Y, Z, all the younger people, and working in the office is not something that they normally do. And I think, somehow this situation that we have right now prompt us to do something different and adopt something that we have never thought before, or something that we wanted to in the next 5 years, but we are doing it right now, And then if you guys are aware and reading the news in Malaysia, even the Malaysian government, the health sector is actually taking a lot of changes in their whole organization. One of the latest one that they actually launch is a services called HIDE, right? This hotspot identification dynamic engagement. I'm assuming this data set was actually collected for the whole of 1 year in 2020. Now only it can actually deliver, in prompting the authority, the health sector and the government that this certain area would need more attention than the other area, and I think that's pretty good in terms of adoption here in Malaysia, And when you talk about companies, startups that actually developing AI solution in Malaysia, we have a lot of them, especially in financial sector. Malaysia is embarking into digital banking. KYC is one of the priority thing that the federal bank is actually looking at. Understanding that, especially understanding the policies and the law that the Malaysian government is actually putting into place, it's not some type of technology that you can actually adopt elsewhere. The localization, need to be done. And because of this change of landscape, change of adoption, change of technology, and as well as way of work, a lot of our homegrown companies are actually looking into artificial intelligence, especially those who have already embarking into big data and in providing this kind of services towards the industry. So I think without taking a lot of other panels' time, I think that's a quick one about Malaysia, I think.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And we are proud to be part of collaborator together with Skymind from UTM and CAIRO. Okay, let's move on to our next panelist, Mr. Chanakarn. So maybe from Mr. Chanakarn's point of view, how AI is currently being adopted in Thailand, and what is the possible sectors which is highly potential? Is it similar like Malaysia, or is there any other new areas that you can share? Mr. Chanakarn, over to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to this panel as well. So, about my company, I'm focusing on the AI chatbot, which means that I help the business automating the task called chatting with, for example, business chatting with the customer. I help automating that part. So in Thailand, I see that many businesses are starting to adopt AI technology and trying to apply the AI technology to help their business. So I see two parts that they help. So first thing is about the automating tasks. They use AI to automating tasks. For example, automating chat, automating recognized image, for example. The second thing is I see they use AI for analyzing the data. For example, financial data, and use machine learning to analyze and segment data. So the first part, the first part that we do, I'm focusing on automating tasks, and what I do is automating the chat activity. For example, when customer communicate with the business, for now is mostly it's happen online, more than offline, more than telephone. So it's happen online, chat with your friend, text with your friend, right? So I see that if we have more more of this activity, we will have more than 1,000 million messages per day. And this one, if the business needs to manually respond to each customer, to each one, right? So we need a lot of manpower, like call center, to help reply. So the first thing I see that many business, I help more than 30,000 business in Thailand that automating chat and use chatbot to help replying automatically to their customer. And also after the automating task happen, right, we will get the data, and most business, especially the corporate one, the big enterprise, the corporate, they already have the data. They get data from this activity as well. So they will use that data to analyze and trying to find insight use it for marketing and prediction. So in terms of conversation about the business that I do, right? So when we get a lot of conversation data, right? So we can analyze the intention of the customer that chat with the business. We can analyze the segment of user that talk to the business, and also we can use that for marketing as well. So business in Thailand, I think it's just the starting point to apply AI, and I think it is the first step that many corporate already start using it, and I think SME, medium size, and small business will start adopting later on, but it's depend on the price, and it's depend on the cost to adoption. So if we can do, what I do is that I do AI as a service, and they can pay in subscription fees, just monthly or yearly. So if we can do that, so business can just start adopting quicker. So in summarize, Thailand, we are just starting to adopt AI technology in many parts, automating tasks, and also analyzing data. And I see more in corporate, but I believe that for SME, smaller and medium-sized business, they will have more adoption rate in this year and later years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction and some of the overview comments on the available market in Thailand. And I believe that the service of chatbot is going to be very, very popular worldwide. Currently are being adopted in financing and many more services also in the future. So going to our third panelist, Associate Professor Dr. Nguyễn Chan Hong. So what is the condition in Vietnam? So we are very proud to see a very diverse input today. Maybe there are some different input from your side, and you are also having experience in academia as well as in industry. So what is your point that you can share, Dr. Prof?
Hello. So may I share my screen?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, okay, please. I'm preparing the slides on the topic that, okay, let me share. Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yeah, I can see.
Yes.
Okay. So may I start? First of all, I would like to introduce quickly about myself and the company. My company named VDSmart, and we are established in 2019, quite young company, and we are specializing in developing AI over Internet of Things. And our focus market is smart education, smart living, smart retail. And our company belongs to a bigger ecosystem that called Vietnam Digital Space. bringing some expert in AI, artificial intelligence in Vietnam. And we also established our own ecosystem called Vietnam Smart Education Group, or VCEDU. And now we focus on main activity of providing AI over IoT for smart education, like smart classroom, smart school, smart university. About myself, I had my PhD in Spain, and I have experiences of 20 years teaching multimedia at Hanoi University of Technology. I used to be members of ASEAN e-learning networks, and then I moved to the Ministry of Industry and Trade as the Deputy Director of VELINA, the Institute of Electronic Informatics and Automation. Then I moved to the private sector of the CMC Corporation, and I was former director of CMC Institute of Science and Technology. In this company, I start working on big data and AI. At the moment, I established my own company, and I have experience in working in large international and domestic projects. And the biggest one is from the World Bank of $3 million US. I also the inventor of some technology products that's well known in Vietnam or is successfully commercialized. And one of these is the Gearbot, is the humanoid robots. We have a capability of imitating human gesture. So you can move your hand and the robot imitate and move the same, and she learns all the movements. She can speak Vietnamese, she have facial recognition, etc. And at the moment, I am the leader of the state-level project that called Research on Building Digital Transformation for Smart School in the KC40 of the government. And the ecosystem where we are belong to, it combine around more than 20 companies. And the biggest one is Alvin Group. They are specialized in selling foods. And as you know, everyone needs food for life. So two parts, foods, and the second part is technology. And two parts complement each other perfectly. And inside this ecosystem, we have also the AI Academy. In this academy, we have around 30 experts in AI who teach for companies who want to implement AI products. So we are a spin-off who applies the technology and focusing on 3 products like this for education, for SME, and for the shop, for the smart retail. We have some product including the hardware. You can see that this is the hardware. It's an embedded device with AI algorithm inside to turn the camera into smart cameras. So based on this box, we bring a lot of solution and making our own ecosystem of solution, including the iPro Watch, which is used for classroom, and iPro Office used for SME, and thermal for detecting people with fever, cope with COVID-19. So this, I go fast through this product brochure. You can see that our product can recognize emotion, face, age, or genders, and activities. And we apply this for target market. Like it here, you can see in the classroom. The normal cameras with PTZ can be completely controlled by AI and offer a lot of data. Okay, so maybe it's enough for myself because I see that the second slot will talk about AI market, right? Or I keep go on? Should I keep going on? Hello?
Yeah. You can share a little bit. Yes, if
okay, so I keep on about the AI market in Vietnam. So in Vietnam, you can see that Vietnam is a special country where we have fast economic growth, and especially our young population go to the golden age right when the decade of the fourth industrial revolution. So we have a low high-tech labor cost, and in addition to that, the political stability is high, and we have a good COVID control. One of the CEO in Boston Global said that Vietnam is a big potential market because the population is high, nearly 100 million, and many of them are young. And especially Vietnam's consumption of new technology is very high. You can see young people with modern smartphone and with high-speed internet connection, 4G, 5G. So that is make the market very attractive to the big four, including Google, Facebook, Apple, and Samsung. And on the other hand, Vietnam also have big IT companies like Viettel FPT, which is expanding to global size in banking, healthcare, education, and transport. In terms of startup, many of Vietnamese startups are AI startup. And in 2019, Vietnam startup received more than 700 million US dollars. So even bypass Singapore for the first time. And also the government trying to catch up with developed country by adopting 5G very early. So now the 5G is quite, it start to be popular. And AI is #2 among top 5 Vietnamese tech industry, as you can see. Yeah, it's #2. And the big players in the market, you can see the biggest one should be Vingroup. Maybe, do you know Vingroup? Anyone? Vingroup
no,
is
not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Okay. So Vingroup has a big ecosystem because it owns the estate, it owns land and houses, dormitory all over Vietnam. It also owns education with Vin School, and the health industry with the Vin Mec, this hospital, Vin Hospital. And now recently it go to the industry and high tech in Vietnam. So the first priority of Vin is medical AI. And the second one, which is new emerging, is car automation. So we can see these short videos.
Reveal the series of business information about the model called VDSmart VFB35. Car model of the VFB car model. After the VFB34 model has just been introduced and received a deposit in Vietnam, it is worth noting that the VFB35 is sold in both the US and Canada, while the VFB34 is only sold domestically. Based on the
Can you hear the voice on video?
It can be realized.
Yeah, we can hear. Yeah, we can hear roughly the voice, the sound, but then not that clear. But it's okay.
The model is located in the D segment with an overall length of 750 millimeters and a wheelbase of 2,950 millimeters. This
is a Vietnamese car.
Yes.
GLC or BMW
It's electric car.
The VFB35
and is
larger than the
prepared to export into the North American,
950 millimeters
US and
compared
Canada.
to 2,873 millimeters and 2,864 millimeters. Lodayan Vinfast VFB35, Kongang Mercedes GLC, Dag Kok 239, Span CA Trong New Aquamaya, Canada, on 1. VFB35 designed by Pininfarina. Front and rear lights have many details similar to the Lux A 2.0 and Lux SA 2.0 models. The rim is almost the same as the one on Lux A 2.0 and more elaborate. As an electric vehicle, the VFB35 has no front grille. Many design lines are similar to the Lux A 2.0 and Lux SA 2.0 models. VFE 35 interior is revealed in more details. The cabin design reminds us of a Tesla car without a clock behind the wheel and replaced with a large screen in the middle. VentFast said the screen has a size of 15.4 inches. Another special detail on the VFE 35 different from the VFE 34 is the button to choose. There is a panoramic sunroof. The VFE 35's electric motors are mounted on both the front and rear axles. The battery placed under the car floor has a capacity of 90 kilowatt-hour. There are 2 electric motor options for this model. The basic type uses a single motor, 150 kilowatts capacity, 320 Nm torque. The more advanced type has 2 motors, 300 kilowatts capacity, 640 Nm of torque. According to the manufacturer's announcement, the fully charged battery allows US or not. The 2-liter petrol engine has a capacity of 189 horsepower, 280 Nm of torque. The special safety technology on the VFE 35 is the self-driving system. This technology integrates 30 smart features that have not been specifically disclosed. These features are divided into 7 main groups, including intelligent steering system, adaptive lane control, active cruise control, multi-point collision warning, comprehensive collision mitigation, self-parking, intelligent mobility, and
Prof,
drive.
when the car will be released? Is it already released?
It's already released. Safety test and highest score.
Yes.
As expected, VFE 35 will start receiving orders in Vietnam around September 2021 and in the US, Canada, and Europe in November 2021. This model will be delivered in February 2022 in Vietnam and June 2022 in the international market. It is expected that
next
VFE
year
35 will receive the deposit early.
international market.
VFE 34 has expected time to receive the deposit in May, but changes to March 2021. Thanks for watching. Let's subscribe to this channel to watch more next videos.
Okay, so
Thank you very much, Prof.
in order to make a competitive in the big market like North America, AI is used for self-driving and for safety feature. So it's very important because there are very big players like Tesla, like Ford Motor, Toyota. So AI is used as a competitive tool for Vingroup. And the second one is FTT is #1 in ICT, and it released a platform that called FTT.ai, and it's concentrate on natural language processing, automatic speech recognition, text-to-speech, knowledge management, pattern recognition, and vision for smart factory and smart transportation. The other one, Viettel, is also well known because it's not only in Vietnam, but it's expanding to 10 foreign countries. And the focus areas is business intelligence for telecom because it holds 40 million subscriber data, very big data. And the second one is network security and smart city. Also, Viettel is belong to Vietnamese army, so it's have a lot of research on security and defense. You can see here the UAV for the army that's made by Viettel. And VNPT is also the second big telecom operators and focus on e-government for Vietnamese government, education, network security, and also smart city. So smart city is the common keyword. And there are many other players like TMA, VNG, also very big, and other smaller companies like Cyradar for network security, Cinnamon for banking, and HANA for chatbot, ELSA for education, a lot of that companies. Okay, so I finished I finished my part. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, we'll get back to you later on the second round. Yes. So I would like to go for the our fourth speaker, our fourth panelist. So regarding our fourth panelist, I think he also have a good experience in startup employees in Sempurna. Selamat siang ya Pak.
Selamat siang,
so
Pak.
And Mr. Alvin is from ITB ITB. So maybe from your experience having your background in electrical engineering from ITB, Master and Bachelor, and currently having this business development advisor and consultant. How can you share your experience and also the conditions of AI in Indonesia, which would be
Okay,
great.
so
It's also growing very fast.
So actually, if all of you look at my profile, that it's a bit strange. So Alvin has got the bachelor and master degree from Institut Teknologi Bandung, but he moved his career to the HR starting about 6 years ago. And how come you go to the business development and startup advisory at this time, especially in the AI related startup? So about that, actually people has been my patient since my colleagues. And at that time, I also feel that, okay, maybe it's a good thing if I can pursue my degree in engineering. So after that, I haven't had the thinking about to work as an HR person. But at that time, the Philip Morris International or Sampurna also have the opportunity as graduate trainee, and I joined the program. During my 6 years of experience at Sampurna, I have held several of the projects, including where I was assigned as the product manager, I can say, for the super apps for our internal company. So it's basically like the super apps for the HR. So everybody can use the features like the flexible benefits, the reimbursement, and also the informations and employee discount. Coming from that, I also got the exposure in the national project from the late employer. And then I also work since about last year, handling the well-being, especially in the physical and also mental well-being. And at that time, it's also sparked the idea on my mind about what we can also upscale this one. And then since last year, I have got the partnership with ASEAN. Basically, it's also the group of Arcana.ai in Indonesia. And at that time, they want to develop the mental health AI technology. And then after that, after several period, we also think that maybe it will be great if we can combine the physical and also the mental well-being or mental health into one solution covering the biotechnology aspects of the people. So the idea is really, really simple. And I can say that my journey is a bit unique, because from engineering to HR and then to the well-being and employee experience, and then now to the HR, to the business development side of the startup in the biotechnology. And the idea is really, really simple, because we also see that in Indonesia, we know that we are very, very populated, the biggest population in ASEAN. And then we don't always want to be the market only. We also want to be I can say, the solution provider. So at that time, the idea is not many startup in tech that care about the health. Maybe you have heard about Halodoc, Doctor, etc. And several startups from Singapore are also operating in Indonesia. But we see that not many of them utilize the AI technology. If they want to use the AI, most likely they will use it to check the prescription, or is the medication really suitable for me or not. But in ASEAN, the startup that I advise for the business development and the product development side, it's more to combining the physical and mental. For example, let's imagine from the physical side. What if we can have the cheek swab or the DNA sampling from your epithelium, from your cheek, to be tested as the DNA, and you got the extracted information from there, combined with the phenotyping, where you can put the symptoms, and then you can get the recommendation that, okay, probably you have this top 3 of potential disease based on your condition or symptoms. Whereas that for now, most of us, I believe, just do it via Google. What if I got a headache and then a stomach ache and then a bit cramp? What will be the disease? We do that via Google. But what if we can do the mapping via many-to-many data into something that, okay, this kind of data with the symptoms of this, with the phenotyping like this, will lead to this top 3 or top 5. And then after that, we don't stop there. We don't remove the professional consultation or the doctor or the counselor there. But we can use the simplification via the AI technology to have the pre-assessment. And then after that, we will have much more shorter time to do the diagnosis, and also we can have the record for each of the people, each of the person. Imagine that if we can combine the DNA, cheek swab, the phenotyping, and the latest one is the medical checkup record, it will be a single source for everybody to have their own profile on their mobile devices. Coming from the physical to the mental health, and the mental health, we also feel the same. How if we can have the technology where people can be as comfortable as possible, conduct his or her own self-assessment, because not many people in Asia, especially, I believe in Asia, about less than 2% of the population in Asia is willing to go to the consultation, to the professional counselor, to the psychologist. What if we can have the technology where they can conduct a self-assessment? So like Chanakarn also mentioned before, maybe the chatbot can be the solution as well. And we also can provide the simplest one where you can do the multiple choices and then you got the diagnostic, the phenotyping. And then after that, if you have got the assessment, you have got the recommendation from the AI, the bot, and then you can also still connect with the professional counselor. So we got the physical and the mental at one place. And I can say that it's not only a win-win solution, but for us and for the end user. But how about the company? How about the partners? It can be a triple win or quadruple win solution, win-win-win or win-win-win solutions. Because if we have the data, which I will later discuss about the ethics about the utilization of the data, it can also give the bigger picture, the complete picture of how can we utilize the data. For example, like Professor Hung also said before about the data utilization, or Mr. Rafe about the EQYC, know your customer. How if we can make them as useful as the QYC to do the credit scoring, but we can use it as the health scoring. So everybody can get maybe a health program, a service provider or insurance provider that's most fit with their own needs. So that will be the future. And we believe if we can also upscaling this solution, it can disrupt the innovation in the health tech. Because I also see that, okay, Indonesia is the big market, but we don't want just as the market. We want also to have the key players there. And some startups from Singapore, from Hong Kong, also from China, we saw that, okay, they also have this similar kind of technology, but they don't really understand the landscape and in Indonesia, and who will be the strategic partner, who will be the business or the B2B potential clients. That's why I believe that the startup at IFS can also thrive in this. And talking about the Indonesia in overall, in general, for the AI, potential of the AI, I say that it's not only about the health sector, but it's also about the security, the digital security, and also the economical for the MSME. Because in Indonesia, we also want to achieve the goal Indonesia, which is 2045, 100 years after the independence. We also want to upskill the digitalization, the AI, the automation for every single aspects in Indonesia. So the artificial intelligence can be the bedrock or the foundational to achieve this one. And I believe because in Asia as a continent, we have a bit different approach from the startups from European or US. They're kind of startup or solutions more tend to the lifestyle solution. But in Asia, we do it as the ecosystem. So I believe if we can collaborate with our colleagues in Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and all of the countries, at least in Asian, we can also have the ecosystem that can support each other. So the key is not the competition, but it's about the collaboration. That's it.
Yeah, I do agree on that point. The key is on the collaboration, not the competition, and how we can bring our ASEAN, strength.
System, yes.
Towards towards the other side of the world. So thank you very much, Mr. Alvin, for your input. So let's go to the second round. So in this second round, I'll be giving quite different question for each of you. So I would like to start with Mr. Rafe. How do you see AI solution that can be adopted for the real application? Because I think from AI, our center, CAIRO, which stands for Center for AI and Robotics, was founded 22 years ago. So we have many research activity, but then recently we see that now more and more applications have been available, and how these adopters, okay, of technology can be seen as, I mean, people that can grab the opportunity, because the early adopters, the technology-savvy companies, they can have more advantage compared to the people who are going to wait and see. It's like vaccine, right? So people are trying to wait and see what happens. So how these people who are early adopters can get the advantage, and how we want to bring others as well to get this advantage for them and for their startups or companies. So what is your opinion, Mr. Rafe?
Thank you, Doc. First and foremost, I wanted to apologize if you know, whatever that I'm going to say next or later on going to, you know, offense anybody or whatever. To me, there's two biggest difference between research and actual implementations. Yeah. You know, Malaysia universities, you know, we have hundreds of IPs. A lot of those are actually very, very useful. But to commercialize it, that's another question, right? Whether it's easy to be commercialized or the other way around, right? Whereby the whole development and process of it have to be reinvented, even though, you know, the study and the research of it has been done in the local research center. So the biggest thing about whether it can be adopted or not always go back to the mindset of the people itself, right? Take it as what you said just now, vaccine, right? A lot of people are waiting, you know, just to see what happened. You know, I'm sure that you realize when Malaysia actually did announce the first vaccine volunteered session, right? You know, not a lot of people actually registered for it, right? Because they wanted to wait and see. But when it become critical, when the country become critical, number keep rising, then only you get, you know, panic, you know, and you wanting it, you know, and the first mover always get the first advantage, right? I'm giving you an example of a simple vaccine process. And when you talk about technology, and I echo my colleague just now, when you talk about AI, it's always about the data sets, right? It's the new oil, right? You don't go out and dig a new petrol for, you know, oil rig anymore. You know, you go out and dig data, you know, and Malaysian SME and enterprise have terabytes of data, and they are not being using it, you know, and they are not capitalizing on it. So when you talk about the first mover, and when these people get access to this sort of data sets, a lot of things can be innovated. A lot of things can actually be generated also as well. Our own experience, you know, we signed a partnership with one of the medical universities here in Malaysia. You know, when we go in depth, we go and understand what they have. You imagine a patient data sets that they have over a period of 10 to 15 years, you know, and this patient keep coming back to them. And the method of a university hospital here in Malaysia, why people like to go to them is because they are very, very cheap, right? They act as a normal hospital. It's just that the fees is not the same, and they give you a private hospital kind of a feeling. So these people keep coming back. And that data set has been there for the longest time, and it's not being capitalized, it's not being used, and innovation was not happening in that kind of vertical. So when we came in, I think mid of last year, we only look into one single area, which is the dental. You know, not a lot of AI company actually look into dental. So we did that, you know, with the vast amount of data sets that we have, we managed to come up with 3 new innovations specifically targeting at dental. And this innovation, my apology that I cannot tell you what is it actually because of the NDA that we have, but what I can tell you is basically to help and assist dental practitioner to make decision quicker, you know, and to detect the illnesses even before it happened. The only reason why we can do that is because of the data. And you know, is when you talk about building a new technology, capital is very, very intensive, right? And then you talk about that one. And number two is that the change of the mindset of the people who actually own the data and not understanding what the data can actually bring them is another issue. And then the third one is to tell them how can they make money out of these innovations. So Skymind actually take a bit of different step. You know, we take a different approach. We tell them we go into a contract that could give them, you know, would benefit them, you know, whenever the product actually being commercialized. So what we did is basically, instead of a normal, you know, contract whereby you pay me, I build it, we go on a result-oriented contract, right? So we tell them this could actually give you this outcome, and this outcome. Only when that outcome happen, only you start to pay. If we couldn't deliver the KPI that we actually promise and commit, you know, we're going to back off and you're not going to pay anything. So to us in Skymind, in here, especially here in Malaysia, it's not about whether we can build, whether is the first mover advantage or whatever. Is basically the biggest hurdle that I'm sure that around, you know, Southeast Asia also we're having this problem, is the change of mindset. You know, because people always think that, you know, I'm sure everybody watched Terminator, you know, iRobots, you know, all these futuristic film, and they think that whenever AI come to play, I'm losing my job. I'm losing whatever that I'm actually having right now. But honestly, to me, yeah, from here to Terminator, you know, it might take my daughter's you know, period when it can actually happen. You know, people are talking about neuro you know, the genetic, the neuroscience right now, the you know, embedded into your brain and whatever it is still at a very preliminary stage. You know, I'm actually, you know, when you talk about this and asking me this question, I get very agitated a bit, I would say, because it's not that the technology is not there to help. It's just that the level of adoption of people in adopting that technology in order to make the businesses or their daily life easier is being questioned. You know, is very difficult to change that mindsets. Okay. So I give you a couple of examples that I think if I do have the time here, is that some of the client that we have, I give you FMCG. These are the one of the factory that have that actually produce durian paste. Yeah. Normal at the normal time they have about 30 to 40 operator that does QC. You know, that does checking of every single foreign object or foreign item within the durian paste, right? And it took per operator about 3 minutes to do per swab, right? So meaning that every time they do, they have to, you know, spread the durian and they have to check for foreign object and pick it up and put it aside, you know, and they can only produce as much as about 30 to 40 kilo per operator per day. And their demand of the paste is actually beyond their production line. So what we did was we coupled that with, we changed the QC portion a bit. You know, we embedded 2 robotics arm, we put computer vision into the whole operating system, sorry, to the whole production line. We managed to increase about 50% production rate minimum. And none of these operators actually losing their job. So what we did, we retrained them. You know, we get them to do something else, you know, either on packaging, either on having, you know, because nobody can beat human being, right? No amount of camera, no amount of automation can actually beat the computing power that the human brain would have, right? So these people are being retrained. they become the supervisor of those automation that we put in, you know, and some of them actually move to a different line whereby they learn something new. You know, it's never about losing jobs. It's not about putting you know, making human irrelevance, right? So that's one of the experience that we have. So basically it improved overall production of this FMCG manufacturing line to a minimum of 50%, you know. And then this application is being replicated throughout the industry. You know, a lot more manufacturing FMCG, especially that actually into this line, that actually adopting the same thing, right? It's just that, correct, when you say the first mover would have a bit of advantage, basically based on the data set that they provide, as well as the outcome that they're going to get later. You know, I might be moving 6 months ahead of my competitors, you know, because I put this thing in first. But again, you need that kind of mindset whereby I'm willing to take that change. Then only the rest of the industry can actually follow and change with you. Okay. So the wait and see culture, I think, do I still have a bit of time or I don't?
Yeah, okay. Maybe another 2 minutes, maybe.
All right, 1 minute. Okay, the wait and see approach, I really think is not relevant anymore, right? Especially in technology. If you wait, you're going to lose out. Technology change very rapid. If your whole development would take you 6 to 8 months, forget about it. Don't even do it. You know, your competitor will do a lot more faster than you. So I think that would need to change. The whole mindset, wait and see, cannot be there anymore. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this is a very indeed important point that was highlighted by Mr. Rafi just now regarding the awareness and also the mindset, especially for us academia, okay? Because sometimes, I mean, to transform a certain culture of work is also very challenging. And we have to make sure that we have to move. I mean, the act of moving is very, very important for us to see the differences. And then the proof of how FMCG that was highlighted by Mr. Rafi just now, I think there are a lot more of, I mean, success story that we can share so that those data that we have can be utilized. And Mr. Rafi also highlighted on the Terminator just now. I just want to highlight also Boston Dynamics has already started to do similar things on robotics and how they use the intelligence of what they call artificial. It is more on how they decide the locomotion of the robots. Very, very important to see the flexibility in programming and so on. So let's move to the second panelist. Some points also highlighted by Mr. Rafi just now on how some of the processes will be replacing jobs. Okay, the repetitive job that we see in our country, in Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, or Indonesia, and there's a study by McKinsey which is highlighting that by 2030, roughly around 50% of the jobs are going to be replaced. So what is our comment on that part, where we can see that now when we have more advancement of AI solutions, robots coming in, how about the jobs that will be in loose? And maybe there are some new jobs also, probably. So what is your comment?
Okay. So I agree that from the research, right, the repetitive job can be automated, and I think it should be automated. But I think when we lose job, when we lose some job, right, so the new job we may create new job as well, right? So there are two parts. So the thing is that will the new position is enough to replace to transfer the people who lose the job to the new one. So if that one is enough, so there will be no problem. So let's in my opinion, I think this way, right? I think that in terms of AI that help automating tasks, right? I always mention automating tasks and analyzing data. Analyzing data is creating new jobs because when AI analyze and you need some people to help bring that data into action, right? So that one create a new job for sure. But for automating tasks, right? If you cut down the jobs, but you might still need someone to also doing that job. You cannot cut down 100% of the job. For example, I do AI chatbot, and right now I believe that from now until next 10 years, people say that AI chatbot might be able to replace the call center, but I believe that not 100%. So, for example, if you have 10 people to handle your call center, your customer service, if you cut down all and replace by bot, right? So you will have no one to make sure that it's working. You will have no one to monitor it, and so I believe that you cannot cut 100%. So at least you need to have one people to monitor, right? And also to report you, to analyze. You might have another people to train it, to teach the bot and to make sure it's working. And you might have another one in case it cannot answer the complex problem, it cannot answer the complex question, right? So you need other people to handle that. So let's say if we have 10, I think we should cut out only 50% or less than 50% for now, right? And we need to create a new job for that 50%. For example, I cut out 10 to 5. So I moved the head, let's say the head of call center to be like a chatbot trainer or chatbot optimizer. I moved the assistant to be analyzer. So need to train them as well. So we train the bot and we need to train the people to move into the higher position as well, right? And for the I think for the operation teams, right? Operation team, we can reduce from 3 to 1. I think 1/3 we can reduce, and we can have some kind of marketing thing for them as well, so they can move from operation to marketing, because if we can reduce operation part, we can have more people to help, like analyze data and find new opportunity, and to help in that part as well. But this the thing is that it will not happen at the same time, right? For example, you cut down and you create a new job. So if you can make it happen at the same time, so that when we have no problem. I think the thing is that we will cut down the position first, and they might need time to learn to find new job. So I think many parts in the country need to help. For example, government also need to help them to transferring from the old the old job to the new one, and also need help to educate them, and also to find some to help them have some buffer. For example, 6 months to transfer a job, or 1 year to transfer, for example. But I think we all should agree that AI should come to help, but not 100% replace human for now or the next 10 years. And I think I believe that we still have some more ability than AI, because we all human have brain and have ability to think more than the AI that can do. Only I believe that AI will not smarter than us in the next 10 years. But maybe after the next 10 years, maybe I'm not sure. So I think that is my opinion. Only my opinion. But I think it's good to automate repetitive job, but we should have some buffer to help the people who lost job as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chanakarn. So if I may relay your comment regarding the AI to automate tasks, and also we need people who are going to do this data analysis or analyzing the data. So we can say that we also need, higher skills nation. Higher skill nation. So to have upskilling, or maybe to have reskilling even. So some of the old skills that we have to change it. So like what Alvin was doing last time, he was doing on electrical, now he's doing on TCR. So I believe that is also part of a reskilling process that we have to suit and adjust. So to have that, we have to have this growth mindset that was highlighted by Mr. Rafi just now. And we don't have to worry if the skills are together with us, and the human touch that we have, there is something different with robots, right? Because robots or maybe chatbot, these are all things that we have to program. So I think these are the two points that was highlighted by Mr. Chanakarn just now. So let's move to Dr. or Professor Hung regarding the also points on the data that we see that AI, the accuracy will be better if we have more data. So thousands of data will be giving you higher accuracy. So, and the challenges of having data, for example, in healthcare, just now we are also talking, you're also talking about healthcare, and also Alvin also highlighted on the mental health data, and some of the data that was in hospitals that was also pointed by Mr. Rafi. So how this security of data that is involved, okay, and the ethical of it in data when it involves to AI. So is there any input from you based on your experience in VDSmart?
Hello.
Hello,
It's
Prof?
my turn?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So actually, I don't have much experience in the field like healthcare, but in my field of computer vision, I think there is a lot of care should be taken when we work with customer data like face or some ID, like ID card we can use in KYC system. So recently there is a big scandal of a hacker who posts about millions of ID cards on the internet, and people don't know where he get that data from. And people guess that the hacker may get it from AI system, where the KYC system collect the data and store on some server, and the hacker hack in and copy it, then post it on the internet. So the security is a very complicated, very complex system, and we don't have a single answer for everything. But in our case, when we work with AI on IoT, that means embedded system. So embedded system is very weak and don't have much computing power for security algorithms. So we have to implement 100% VPN, virtual private networks, so that all the data from cameras transmit to the embedded device and push on the server must be encrypted with 2048 bits. So it's hard for the hacker to crack it on the communication. So the rest of work is for server, and on server we use the normal security measure. And also the important here is to implement ISO 27000. You know about security ISO security. So in the ISO security guideline, we should take care of all the process, including manual process, and we should take the role and duty, make it clear between us and customers, because sometimes customers have a very weak security, and when something happens, they tell us that this is your fault, but actually not. So we have to clearly make from the start when we sign the contract that who will respond for the security. So that is very important for commercializing AI. And AI is big data, so we must keep its big data secure first. But at the moment, I think in all Southeast Asia countries, we have a great advantage because we don't have to to worry too much about privacy protection. But in European country or US, they have the GDPR, a very strict rule about privacy. So that's why they cannot have a big data set. So this is our advantage, and we have to take advantage before our country, our government issue new rule to protect the data privacy. That's my idea. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof, for your input. So I believe that it is very important to understand the usage of data, how to protect it, and how we can leverage properly with a certain, policies from our countries. So let's move on to Alvin on the conditions of economy. So we'd like to talk about the economy of Indonesia, which is rapidly growing, and we are happy to see it. And it is quite different maybe from a few years back to the next few years upcoming. And as what you have mentioned, that AI solutions is currently being not only adopted, but then rapidly being explored in many levels of institutions, academia, research institute, and also in industry. So is it, can you share a little bit on the advancements part that I have just highlighted, and are AI solutions being adopted ethically, okay, with the Indonesian culture and the environment?
Okay, so maybe about the 5 years back and 5 years ahead, I will talk more about the digitalization, because as I remember, 6 years ago when I firstly start to work for Philip Morris International, at that time I need to go to work via a taxi or using the public transport like the Transjakarta, the busway, and coming to now, it's like very common if we use the ride-hailing solution. So I think that's the very clear sign. Another one is also the increment of the food delivery in Indonesia, because nowadays I think that almost 40% of the Jakarta's population, the capital of Indonesia, Jakarta, every day they do the food delivery. So that's also another changes that happens. And the good thing is also it increase the economic condition. It also gives the opportunity for many of the people, especially from the MSME, to also start to do their business. So the economic growth, I think it's also real there. It's also, we can see that we also got the kind of regional crisis of Asia, but for the late 4 to 5 years, it's relatively stable, I can say, because the internal consumption is still good in Indonesia. So that's the thing that we see, the impact of the digitalization in Indonesia. And how about the advancement and the adoption itself? Well, I can say that the COVID itself, the COVID or the pandemic situation has the blessing in disguise, I can say. Why? Because it's also accelerating the advancement of or adoption of the technology. For example, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago even, it's not common for people to use Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Google Meets. But nowadays, even the children at the rural area, rural places, they also have used the Google Meet. So that's the sign of the advancement and the blessing in disguise via the pandemic situation. And how about the AI solutions adoption? Is it ethical or not? Well, I can say that from the 3 previous panelists, actually it's been mentioned before. While Professor Hang said about the GDPR, how we use the ISO 27 something to ensure that the data is safe. And also from Professor Rafi, Mr. Rafi, he said that we need to understand the landscape, whether it's comes from the business, from the FMCG, or other industries. We need to understand the landscape of the market itself. It's not about who come first, who come later, but it's about how we can understand the landscape and adapt. So talking about the ethically designs, it's also something that we need to see, I can say market per market or country per country. And again, the second point from Mr. Rafi, he also said that we need the change of the mindset. And especially in Indonesia, I admit that the literacy level in Indonesia is not that great compared to our neighbors. But if we can do something in the literacy, and also we get the blessing in this case by the digitalization, and as you said, we can always use the growth mindset to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So at the end, the AI itself is not to replace the people, it's not to replace the job, but it's more to free up the time. So like said before, the people that has freed up the time, they can be the supervisor of the automation itself. And I can say also, we can see that AI is still have the disadvantage, especially in the common sense part. For example, the simplest example is via the Gmail, for example. Gmail utilize the artificial intelligence technology to see about the email, which one is the spam, which one is not. Whether it is a private email, secured or not, they use the AI to read the information and categorize. Oh, is it categorized to spam or not? But due to they don't have the common sense, sometimes we still got the expected email, but they put it to the junk. So that's also the part of AI where we have kind of worry. Is it safe? Is it ethically or not? That's why for each of the solution, or maybe for each of the startup, especially if we have to utilize the personal data, we need to have the kind of supervisory board or ethical committee. For example, at the startup that I advise for, we have the supervisory board, the ethical committee, which coming from the doctor, from the professor, from the one who understand the biotechnology and the health care in Indonesia. So that's combined with the ISO 27, we can also have a better and stronger, or I can say proven protection. Again, we also cannot control the understanding of the people, of the end user. That's why literacy is the really the key. But another good thing nowadays is the blockchain technology. For example, if we talk about the EQIC, okay, maybe it will only about the data will only utilize your location, your credit card statement, your spending, etc. But how about the mental and physical? Is it really private? No. And then we can use the blockchain technology combined with the AI to map the many-to-many data, so it will be human-free, but people can still get their personal data. So again, I can say that it's back again to the ethical via the GDPR, and also the literacy, and also we need to have the supervisory board or ethical committee. Even for the EQIC, I believe that people in finance, people from the academic can also be the supervisory board there. And also the ISO 27, which should be the standard for the data protection, and also to utilize the blockchain to ensure that the transaction is secure. So maybe that's my point of view. If we can do that, I believe that 5 years from now, we will be able to disrupt any kind that related with the personal data on the secure side. And it's not only for Indonesia, it can also be applied worldwide. So that's my point of view. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alvin, for your input. So it is very important for us to see how the technology will be sustained and we can get the advancement or advantage of the technology. Okay, so we want to open for a quick Q&A before we continue for our final round. So is there any questions from the floor, either from Facebook? You can write down the comments. Our secretariat will be helping us to read it through, or either from the Zoom participants. Any of you who have any questions? We will try to open one or two. And at the end of the session, we will try to open also another session of Q&A. Okay, I have one question from a private message here. This is, highlighted to Mr. Rafi regarding the point that you have highlighted just now for the academia, especially when they want to see how things should be moving towards commercialization, and also the culture that is different. So how this challenge can be overcome, Mr. Rafe?
Thank you. I think if we really talk about this, it's going to take us a very long time to actually discuss about it. But my personal experience actually with CAIRO, CAIRO actually do have, I think, a very good business model, right? Whereby they sharing the IP without asking a lot of commitment from the companies who actually wanted to develop on the IPs, right? So instead of giving upfront, the model is basically to look into the commercialization and the profit of the IP, right? And this could significantly reduce the commitment from the company who actually looking into developing onto that IP. You know, instead of the normal way whereby the bureaucracy, the red tapes, the commitment that they would ask from this company in order to co-develop or to develop on top of the IP that the university would have. You know, I think that would need to change. You know, look at how the European or the Americans are actually doing it. You know, the involvement from the industry is actually heavily needed. You know, because I'm not saying that the education sector would not have the experience, but the theoretical experience versus the actual practical experience is actually different. You know, our entity in China, we have what, 300 to 400 researchers. You know, they are actually partnering in terms of building up that IP. You know, they ganging up with the industry player, not only towards Skymind, but hundreds of other industry player in building and researching into commercializing a certain IPs. You know, this is not about just writing a paper. You know, if we really want to capitalize on the IP that we already have, stop thinking about having this as part and parcel of the delivery of the KPIs. You know, build it for the nation, build it for, you know, our future generation. Because, you know, instead of you know, hugging on the IP and it going to be there forever and ever, let it loose. You know, build a commercial model whereby both sides would actually profit from it, instead of enforcing. I would say enforcing at the very first step, whereby that would be a very big turn off for a lot of industry player out there. So I do hope that I answer your question, and you know.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, thank you very much, Rafi. Thank you for your input. Maybe if Prof. Hung would like to add some comments on that, because you have both experience in academia as well in industry, related to how the academia mindset as well as the movement towards commercialization should be handled.
Can you repeat the question, please?
I mean, from the point of view from yourself on commercialization from university to the industry, how would you see the I mean, nature of academia to collaborate with industry with a faster pace?
Oh, okay.
Commercialization.
Very nice question. And I already prepared a detailed slide on this. So can I share my screen?
Okay, sure.
Okay. Because sometimes I teach for some scientists in academia about this topic. So I have some good material. Let's say, wait a moment, I share my screen. Can you see?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start. So
yeah,
about
roughly 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Yeah.
5 minutes. Okay, under 5
yeah.
minutes. I'm looking at my watch. Okay, so this is very hard topic, And my opinion about the nature of AI, that AI is a new technology. So it's rise, it go down, it disappear, transform to another technology. And so we all have to look at the tendency, the trend. And Gartner is one good, very good source to see where the AI is with the hot topic recently, or will be the hot topic in the next 2 or 3 years. So AI alone cannot bring much value to customers. So a lot of academia have misunderstanding this fact. And the third thing is it's very hard at the moment to evaluate the value that AI brings. So a lot of people believe that AI can bring a lot of money, but that's wrong. That's not completely true. And the AI is a very hot topic, so the competence is also very high. So how to deal with that? So my recommendation is 7. So I will go very fast because I have only 5 minutes. So the first one, AI is a very small part of a real products. So if the product is 100%, so AI is account for only 10 to 30% of the products. So we have to embed AI itself into a big real product which is bigger, or attach it to a new hot concept. For example, in my case, we attach it to the new term that's called smart education. So where AI embedded into smart education, we can really make money. And here we can design a complete product like this with everything from the table, the chair, the equipment, everything. So customer needs these products as a whole. And also the second thing is the second recommendation is we must think out of the box, and we use our previous experience, but in the new twist, in the new view. For example, when I successfully released my humanoid robots, so I became famous. But actually, this robot very hard to commercialize it because it's heavy and it requires a lot of maintenance. You can see that the robot can even guide a blind to somewhere and do a lot of things. But in order to commercialize it, we must keep only the brain, and we make these eyes become multiple and movable, like PTZ cameras, and we interact with people by the normal, very popular things like screen or mobile apps, for example. So one robot can interact with thousands of people. But in the first case, when we make it as a humanoid robot, one robot can serve only one person or maximum 2-3 persons. So that is have to change the mind to the market-oriented mind. And the third thing, we must raising fund. And when we raising fund, government is an angel, because government is the only organization that are happy to pay money for the long-term project. I work for several big companies, but actually they only think of short-term return on investment. And so they don't want to pay money for the long-term AI products. So that is my advice. And the fourth thing is, in order to successfully in commercializing, we must make an alliance with a lot of bigger companies. For example, myself, I made my own alliance with 10 companies so that we can use their sale. They have a lot of sales. There are hundreds of sales running all the day with 1,000 customers. So we don't have to spend too much time to speak with the customer. They will do this for us. And the fifth things, as you can see here, that is my alliance, my ecosystem, where the AI is in the top and other companies will help us, will support us for sale. And also the fifth thing is AI can do a lot of things, but we should sometimes make it solve really big problems. For example, we have some project which is funded by government in shore zone monitoring or seek and rescue UAV. and even the robot lab for space technology industry. So you can see here is one sample of AI used in rescue people in the ocean. That is very good for not only public relation for marketing, but for really improve our human resource. So here is some our project, including for management exploring natural resource and coastal environment, and intelligent UAV and robot labs, intelligent robot labs for space and underground. Underwater vehicle. For example, here you can see in a project we have source from satellite image, we use UAV and use AI here to use the big data from environments from a lot of source, and we predict and alerts people in natural resource or people who rising stream, etc. About the environment pollution. That's very important because it saves a lot of people and save a lot of money, because you know Vietnam exporting seafood a lot. And my sixth recommendation is in AI we have to change the mind from academic mindset to commercial mindset. So one AI model is never enough. In order to solve only one real world problem, we have to implement a lot of AI model, a lot of AI techniques, and who will research faster and achieve the higher performance of AI win the game. For example, in only one application of us, we should use 7 models like face detection, face recognition, emotion, image quality enhancement, image stitching, stranger recognition, liveliness. That is 7 AI model, and we have to test a lot and improve the model from the paperwork to the real world application. It's very different.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing is, we should ranking ourselves, and the best thing is we join a competition. For example, in Vietnam, we have the competition that called Software. Is held by Vietnamese software organization. So when we go to a competition like this, we have a committee of a lot of experts in various fields, access and rank our products based on a lot of important criteria like the money, return investment, or the potential, or the novel idea, a lot of things. And after that, if you can get the award, will be nationwide, even international, because this will be sent to EU, to US, to Japan, and also we save a lot of money on marketing. This was marketing by the Association of Software Engineering. It's much better than our own marketing.
I see.
So after only 1 year, we joined this national competition, and we are successfully get an award, and we are very happy of that. And we see the incoming, the number of customers is increasing. Okay, so
okay.
Yeah, I finished this here, and thank you.
You have the seven points. Thank you very much. Very interesting point. And I believe you also highlighted some of the areas for AI innovation in Vietnam as well. I can see that there are some search and rescue. Actually, we are also doing some research and rescue. Monitoring of the biodiversity is also part of the work that is possible to explore in Vietnam. So how can we look to other countries? Okay, maybe we can start from Indonesia first on specific requirement or special incentive for AI innovators or innovations from other ASEAN countries to enter your market. Anything from Indonesia that you can offer so that maybe some other solution provider can come in and provide in the country.
Okay, actually, the key of the AI in Indonesia actually not always about the solution, but how we can also collaborate with the government itself. Because with the vision of Indonesia 20 and 45, 100 years after the 100 years after the independence, we have the 5 priorities for artificial intelligence, which are health services, bureaucratic reform, education and research, food security, and also mobility and smart cities. So maybe the latest one, mobility and smart cities, they can always be the key player in Indonesia to enter the market. But for health service itself, I can say it's a bit challenging. And bureaucratic reform, it's also sometimes a bit political. So I don't think it will be another another great opportunity for players from other countries. And the third one about the education and research. For education, yes, we have Ruang Guru, for example. They have successfully digitalized the education. But for the research, I think that it can also be the key factor that can be as the incentive. Especially if you can work closely with the military, with the government, I think the research part can also play important role in Indonesia. And food security, it's also something that's relatively new, and I think the market is still a blue sea. So research, food security, and mobility and smart cities can be the 3 sectors where the other countries, other startup or AI from other countries, technologies can also go in. But it's also will be related with the infrastructure, data, and talent development, especially in the infrastructure and data. Because Indonesia is still emerging country, I can say emerging in technology, not country, emerging in technology. So infrastructure is also something that the startup from others need to think of. Will you want to invest some amount of money or do some kind of a breakthrough there? Because if you can be the one to start, it can also be incentivized, I believe. So it's more to the negotiation with the government about what you can offer, and what we have as a country can also be, I can say, be connect with your technology. And again, the foundational is always about the ethics and policies, and on how we create the ethical artificial intelligence in accordance to the Pancasila, the 5 core values of Indonesia. That's it. So incentivize is not about the money, but we can have the trade-off that can be beneficial for both of the parties. That's my view of the AI in Indonesia.
Okay, thank you. It's more like a win-win. So
Yeah.
if I may repeat, you have health, you have bureaucratic, which is quite difficult to enter, but then in food security is one area that can be, involved in smart city and mobility. And the other one, is it on education?
Yeah.
All right, okay. So maybe our...
by the way, I will share
audience...
one of the article from TechWire Asia, because they also have put the framework, the host framework, which you can see about what kind of the visions, the envision that we see as Indonesia as a country to achieve the Indonesia vision of 2045.
Okay, sure. That will be very helpful. Okay, let's move to Thailand. So how about Thailand? How do you see any requirement or special incentive for AI innovators coming from other ASEAN countries to enter the Thailand market? Can you share a little bit from Thailand perspective, Chanakarn?
I think there is no specific incentive, but I think Thailand are really open for new technology and for the another Southeast Asian country to enter. So I think the way to enter there are two or three ways. Right? The first way is via the government. Right? In Thailand we have 2 ministries that responsible for the technology. The first one is the Ministry of Digital Economy. So this one, right? So I think this ministry has like a small agency inside called DIPA, DEPA. I think DIPA already partnered with Malaysia government, MDEC or something. I think we have this part to help promote the technology from other countries to Thailand as well, and in Thailand to promote to another country as well. So the first one is via Ministry of Digital Economy. The second way is we have Ministry of Science and Technology. So it's a bit overlap, but they are doing similar things to help promote and help advertise the technology and to bring it to the business in Thailand. So we have two parts, and you can enter via if you are already multinational company. I think it will be easier because you have proved that you have done in many countries, and you can go to like the big company and provide them the solution directly. If you are multinational company, we have many of them. We have IBM, we have Accenture, we have many of them who have done this and go directly to big company like banks, like big hotels, and directly to provide a solution to them. For the small startup, I think government has also I think no specific incentive, but you can discuss with them and get into the market.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chanakarn, for the input. So for those who are interested, maybe you can contact Chanakarn also for more details. Okay, how about Malaysia? Mr. Rafi, you can share from the Malaysia perspective. If we have our digital players from Thailand or Indonesia or Vietnam who want to enter Malaysia market, what is your advice?
I think for Malaysia, we are a very friendly investment country. Yeah, I'm speaking out of my previous life, my previous job. Yeah. Malaysia has always been promoting technology investment towards the country. If you're talking about incentive and whatnot, I think a lot of government agencies out there is actually providing a lot of incentive, especially when the government as of now is gunning for IR 4.0, artificial intelligence, innovation, research and development. I think for the rest of the participant or my colleague here, Ministry of Science and Technology actually implement a sandbox, I think late last year and this year, in encouraging a lot of companies building innovation out of the data set that they are collecting and centralizing. And then on top of that, I think there is also funding, that is actually available for companies to come in and tap, especially in growing their business out of Malaysia, from Malaysia to out of Malaysia. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Rafi. Okay, so we have ended our third round. So I would like to open, maybe we have another 10 minutes before we end the session. So is there any question from the floor or from Facebook? Okay, we have one maybe from Dr. Hazrina.
Hello, hi. I would like to ask questions to Mr. Chanakarn. The participants in this program, most of them are academics who are innovating some sort of AI-related products or solutions. I would like to ask about, the journey that you went through. You started a company, and then you have your own, some AI solutions in the form of a chat box and all that. So how did you start until, briefly, until you get to where you are now? Thank you.
Okay, so it's quite a long journey, but let me explain in short, right? Actually, it started when I graduated in the AI field from Imperial College London, right? So I went back from London in 2016, right? I got master's degree in AI already. I went back from London in 2016, and then when I came back to Thailand, I'm trying to find the funding to fund in my company. So it's like I mentioned, I'm connecting with many startup programs like incubators, accelerator, and also the government funding. So I start from scratch. Actually, I start from no money. Actually, I found that with my another two friends, but two of my friends working in a big company, and I try to ask them to join me part-time first. And so I have no funding for them. So I need to get from accelerator and incubator. And after I joined, luckily we won the first incubator program, and we get some small funding. So my friend can join me full time, and then we start three person to build the product. So the first year of my journey is about building the product and joining accelerator and getting the first seed funding. I call it pre-seed funding because it's very small funding. And the second year is about accelerating. So the second year I hired the first employee, and I hired from 3 to 10 person. Second year I got about 10 employee in the company. And as I start from product team, I start from building the product. My co-founders are all about developer, builders. I'm only the one who gets some knowledge about my marketing and business, right? So I need to hire more marketing people and also business analyst people to help enter the market. So second year is about entering the market, do marketing things, do sales stuff. But the second year is quite hard because the thing that you build from the first year somehow is not working the second year, because first year we building, and second year we bring it to the market. So we find some problem when we bring it to the market, like Dr. Hùng mentioned that. So AI is only the small part, and when we bring it to the market, right, it will be they might adopt only some part, and we might to adapt our product to fit the market. So second year product market fit and accelerating. And right now I'm entering the third year. It's about accelerating more, and also to enter different markets. So firstly, I found that AI chatbot can help in customer service field. And last year it's just starting to enter the social commerce, conversational commerce. People not only communicating to get a service, they communicating to buy something, to sell something in chat as well. And there will be more sector that AI chatbot can help. For example, in healthcare, in HR, people management, right? For internal chatbot as well. So there are multiple parts. So what we need is that we have product, we have technology, but we have to find a way to bring it to the real business. So this is my journey from that way until now, in short.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chanakarn. Okay, we are running out of time, so we have another 5 minutes before we go. So I would like to give 1 minute each for our panelists to maybe summarize or give us any tips or any final comments before we end. So if I can start with Professor Hung. Professor Hung. Hello, Prof.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay. So what is we are talking about right now? What do we want the most for me to share?
Just a summary, because we are going to end our session. So maybe like 1 minute summary of what you can give to our audience.
Yeah. So in the program that you send me, I see that now we're sharing opinions about how to collaborate together. Is correct? Is it correct?
Yeah, but because we are running out of time, so yeah, if you can highlight a little bit within 1 or 2 minutes, so that would be good.
Okay, so I think the most important thing of this session is to think about how to work together as an Asian country. So I used to join some similar international forum, and I think the most difficult is to find a common target. So if there are some kind of international project that we can work together, that will be the best. Okay, that's all that I can think out at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. I believe from CAIRO, we have somebody who are very related to your work, some of the robots that you do. So we surely contact you later. Okay, let's move to Alvin. Maybe we start with Alvin first. Secondly, for your closing remarks.
Okay, thank you. So AI, yes, it can help us a lot, but it's not everything. It will be like the tools that we can use to process something more automatically and in a more secure way, I can say. And then the second one, we need to really understand the landscape or the market, because different market can have a different approach, which I have saw in so many companies that have consulted with me. It's not easy to maintain Indonesia as the market, I can say. And then the change of mindset is also really, really important, because literacy of the end user will also a differentiating factor for the solutions that we have. It needs to be a no-brainer, no need for the too much tutorial, but you need to create a solutions that can be adapted easily. And then I can also say that artificial intelligence is not to replace everybody's job, but to be to free up their time to do something that's more productive, I can say. And then from the ethical side, I can say that it's also the number one, because automation, it's not just everything will be secured automatically, but we need to really, really understand about any kind of potential breach that can also come at a later time. And then I also see that AI also can, where's the point that we can, it's the point that we can collaborate more, especially for the ASEAN. And from there, we can create the ecosystem, just like Professor Hang also explained before. So that's my closing remarks. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alvin, for the points. I think I've taken note here around 5 to 6 points related to tool, AI as tool, the understanding of landscape, the solution that we have to adapt, how we can replace our free time, and to understand the ethical part, as well as the final to build the collaboration and the ecosystem in ASEAN. So let's move to Rafi on your closing points, or maybe tips for any businesses, I don't know, whatever points that we can learn from you.
First and foremost, thank you everybody, the organizer, the panelists, and for the invitation. Secondly, I think I'm going to echo Prof. Heng, Alvin, that open collaboration is actually very important. Skymind Foundation actually was based on Open Foundation. We are an open source company. We are still and we are always open for collaborations, partnership, talking. I think, Alvin, I might want to contact you for the KYC portion after this, we have that ready already. Anyhow, I think we should actually do a lot more of this, especially between education, academias and industry, just to get the sense of so that we could actually leverage on each other a lot more rather than doing things silo. I think that's about it from Skymind.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Rafi. So the point on open collaboration, which is very, very important. So the gap and silo part that has to be improved, maybe between academia and industry, and the networking that we want to build out of our collaboration, especially from this Zoom session together. So last but not least, to Chanakarn.
Yes. So I agree to the open collaboration, and I believe that to correlate, right, we need two parts. We need people who build and people who bring it to the market. So for example, that you mentioned about university and the industry that connecting together, right? So we need people who build and building more technology, make it better, make it smarter, and we need people who bring it to market, because sometimes technology that you build might not fit the market at first. So we need to focus on the pain point and or the how you would like to bring it to really solve the problem. So and that one will grow, collaboration will happen, and that one will grow the market. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chanakarn, and also all the distinguished panelists together. So we have spent roughly around 2 hours of session. We have some of the questions, but then I'm very sorry that we have to stop at the moment. So you can contact our distinguished speakers. We are going to provide you with their contacts. And for the big summary, what we have learned today, and also get from the sharing session on the ASEAN AI market opportunities. It is not only on the market opportunity that we are looking in. We are looking at the more general aspects of the learning curve taken by some of our panelists. What are the issues that we have in the countries, the respective countries will have different kind of issues that have to be tackled. And I think the final agreement that we can see is on the synergizing the experts advancement that we have from other countries together to build our ASEAN country better in the future. So I think that's all from me. Thank you very much for your kind attention. And I would like to pass back this session to the master ceremony, or Dr. Hazlina or Puan Neni, for the next announcement. Thank you very much, everybody. Maybe we have a big clap to all. So very, very good sharing. And
can we have all the participants switching on their video for a while so that we can take this together? Okay, I hope Sohaila is ready to take our pictures. Right. Let me just, okay. All right. Okay, I hope everybody can turn on their videos. Let us know, Sohaila.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Saya baru on. Sekejap.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, one more time. One more time.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you everyone. Okay, thank you to the panel. I think it has been a great session. I'm really pleased with this session. We learned a lot from all the panels with their experiences and all that. Thanks again. We hope that we will see you again in a different occasions. Thank you very much.